Mattress Brothers at 120 West Redlands Boulevard in Redlands. The $3.99 overstock sale is on now. $3.99 for a foam encased queen pillow top set. Mattress Brothers also has locations in Hemet, Riverside, and Palm Desert. The $3.99 queen pillow top sale on now.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KBT 1490 AM, where we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to our show and, of course, spreading the news. Sometimes we get listeners and viewers from areas we never even expected from around the world, and we appreciate you guys letting us know where you're tuning in from. It always gives us kind of a perspective, especially to our station. Hey, these people are listening, these people are listening, these people are listening, these are regular listeners. And so I know they do watch it from time to time saying, okay, are we being seen? Are we being seen? Are we being seen? So I'm not going to lie. I love it when we have like 180. I think we had that one time. It was near my birthday a few years back. I think Jesse kind of remembers that. All of a sudden we pumped up in a really big way. And then we did another very big story. And that pumped up a lot too. So we know we have the capability of doing that. We say thank you for sharing us in groups on Facebook. Thank you for retweeting. If you find us on Twitter, thank you for the retweet. Thank you for all that. You keep us going. At the end of the day, the only information that we can get out there is information that can be shared and be shared responsibly. Sometimes we share good information. Sometimes we share fun information. And sometimes we share things that even we go, what is going on in the world? Right? We got Jesse Sanchez over there who's perusing the news headlines. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning. Yeah, there are some news that just makes you go like, is this real or is this like some weird movie? But yeah.
Yeah, I've had this conversation. Literally, my mom said with the bird story, she says it's like a sci-fi, and she's the one that said it's like the Birds movie, like coming out of nowhere. Imagine you being below those birds. For those that don't know what we're talking about, there was a video being kind of distributed on news headlines. It's made it to all the major networks. ABC covers it as well. And some think, what is going on? When you researched over in Wales, the area of birds just flying out of nowhere and literally dying, there's a lot of speculation of what that is. Then when we have avian flu over on the East Coast and how they've had to kill so many chickens and turkeys and poultry, then you go, okay, we're going to have a shortage of that, so expect prices to go up with chicken at least. Turkey's not in season, thank goodness. But you need to do that worst case scenario. Did you ever see the movie Killer Bees?
No, is that the actual name of the movie?
Yeah, it came in the 80s. And yeah, and I always thought that was kind of like, I remember seeing it as a kid, and I thought, okay, that's not a big deal. It's just a movie, whatever. And it wasn't like Attack of the Killer Bees. It wasn't like that, It was a really normal movie. And in it, the bees would start attacking en masse people, but they had so much like venom in them that it would kill people, right? So they were known as killer bees. Well, fast forward, do killer bees exist, Jesse?
Yes, they do.
They do. They do. It's known as the Africanized bee, also known as the Africanized honey bee, and known colloquially as the killer bee. It's a hybrid of the Western honey bee, produced originally by crossbreeding of the East African lowland honey bee. Okay, I'm going to show you this bee. He's so cute. You're like, no, you're not going to kill me, you little bee. You're going to just be a bee. And then you go, oh, shoot. Because en masse, when you get one bee upset, what usually happens to the whole swarm?
Yeah, they all swarm. I tell you what, in my younger days, I was not the smartest person. We had a storage, like a little trash can that we used to put our recycling, okay?
Yeah.
And then we have a piece of plywood covering it so that, water doesn't get in when it rains. We removed the plywood one day, and there was just this whole, like, hive of bees, and we're just like, oh my God. So what would be the smartest thing to do?
I do not know.
Yeah, neither did we. We were young. So what we did was we got 2 cans of Raid or whatever kind of bug spray that we could.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, we did. We covered ourselves with clothing.
Oh no, you didn't.
Had the thing. We were dressed up like ninjas, and then the person in the back was holding the water hose, spraying it. Yeah, we were not smart. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. And the result was?
No, we murdered them all. They did not survive. Okay. I feel bad now because I'm thinking, oh my god, we killed. They could have just been little honeybees and they were just trying to chill for the day, but no, we murdered them all.
Got it. Okay, well that's good to know. Yeah. So, there's actually a couple of movies that came out. I'm looking at it. The Swarm is one of them. Yeah, The Swarm is coming, and I think this is the one that I did watch. A huge swarm of deadly African bees. Oh, there it is. Spreads terror over American cities by killing thousands of people. And so, it was a movie actually that came out in '78. And then there's other movies I'm doing research on. Killer Bees, which is a TV movie in 2002. Evidently, they're making it or they just made it. How appropriate. And then there's one in '74 as well, evidently, that came out, directed by Curtis Harrington with Edward Albert, Kate Jackson, Roger Davis, Don McGovern. Anyway, so I remember watching this with my family when I was a little boy, right? And finally, they kind of go, well, what are we going to do? Because there's just so many, right? And it starts in like a little village or a little like getaway where I think this girl and this guy I think are kissing or something. I can't remember. And they're like in a green car. And then, the bees kind of come around and they probably swat it. And then all of them come swarming. And then they like break the glass and do all kinds of things. So I'm like, how can bees do that? Seriously. But, they were coming in through the vents, right? I remember that. That was like a very scary thing to see. Yeah, because nobody thinks about that, right? They go up and in to the into your car, and then they come out through the fence. So there's no hiding from bees because they're so tiny, right? And they just have one little idea: attack, attack, attack. We hate you, right? So having said that, the reason I say that is that's a real thing. Although you think it's just a movie, the Africanized bee is a real thing. Now, do they do that in swarms? Well, evidently no. But could it happen? The answer is yes. So there's that. Then there's birds coming out of nowhere, right? Of course, you're like, okay, what's going on with that? And then some would say, well, regardless of where they're coming from, out of nowhere, dumped like that, it's almost like somebody threw them or hurled them to the earth, right? And to hear that some of them were kind of bludgeoned on the way down and they didn't get to pick themselves up and they died right there also is a very, very big situation where you go, okay, if this is happening to animals, are they made to go crazy? And or are they going to do things, in the end, or do they have a virus in the mind, right? So I would go with the virus in the mind, first of all, and then you'll understand the rest, right? But that's where you go with CDC, and there's investigations. There was a good show where they used to fly everybody out, all these doctors, and then they had the power of kind of like, I can't remember the actor. It was the actor that was in Minority Report, Blue Eyes, and what was it? It was like a medical investigation, but I don't remember the name of it. It only went a couple of seasons. Maybe somebody remembers it, but it was a good show because it got you kind of going, okay, there are doctors and very strong ones that actually protect us against certain breakouts. So like Ebola, right? That made a big deal in Texas. We got ahead of that here, so it didn't get to become a big outbreak. There are other viruses that could be an outbreak all of a sudden. So we have to watch that. We have to be aware of it. And then we have to say, okay, let's do the right thing. Because if Ebola breaks out, I guarantee you're going to want to wear a face mask, right? So that's just one of those things you don't want. And we had that here, I want to say, 6 years ago or so? I want to say, because I remember I got in a car accident and I had a couple people kind of join me in the hospital, and they had the warning there, and they go, you know what, we love you enough to be here and possibly get Ebola, so don't ever forget that. And I said, okay, I'm sorry. I know, because Ebola was running rampant around the area, and one of them was like a biology major, so she was deathly afraid of that. So it was just a funny statement, but it's called, you have friends when they say that to you, because it's true. Now, having said that, since we're on that subject, okay, again, birds, avian flu, all the rest, here is one thing that we're going to kind of, Rosa says, if you're allergic to bees, they are all killer bees. That's true too. So I don't know if I have an allergy. I've never been stung by a bee, I don't think. I'm very nice with bees. And bees, more often than not, except in that movie, they didn't care. Right? That little cool little worker bee, look at you, you're so cute, probably like a teenager. He's like, don't mess with me, man. He just seriously, right? Just I think if you were to voice it, what would be your voice for that little teeny tiny Africanized killer bee?
Well, it depends on where his location is. Like, am I gonna give him an accent?
I think he's European, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to figure
He's
out.
French. I see it now.
I was like, oh, I'm just going for some little bit of honey. Yes. Oh, it tastes good. Maybe
I love this little thing. I'm going to give it to my little lady. Oh, yes. Yeah, there you go. All right. So there you go. Look, at the end of the day, you got to be careful of bees. Period. End of story. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, if you are allergic, know that you're allergic, and or B, literally, remember that you need to have something to fight it. So thankfully, doctors do that. Thankfully, we know how to do it and be aware of what you're allergic to. Some have the EpiPen for other things. You know, that's a worst case scenario. Make sure you don't have a death allergic to it. Tanya Orozco tuning in. George Zamora tuning in. Okay, we're going to switch gears from that to this. And this is something that I've been telling people, be aware. I always tell this to my mom because she kind of sometimes gets caught up in certain things. And I say, don't get caught up in the wrong thing. Get caught up in the right thing. And it's this. With the news that's out there, many have been saying, oh, we're on a decline of coronavirus. Yes and yes, but it is not a, like, sharp decline. I think when people say words lately, people sometimes become very literal. It's a leveling off, probably is a better way, or not a huge increase that we've been seeing as of late. But there's always a delay in certain news, and the delay is this, which is now out right now. The deaths are increasing in 15 states. Okay, now the U.S. is reporting an average of 2,200 lives lost each day. 2,200 lives. Now, I don't know how many people you call a friend, Jesse, but out of your friends or acquaintances, I think we all have more acquaintances than friends. It depends how you view it, right? I feel acquaintances are different than friends because friends know everything about you, right? They're the kind of people that don't judge you. They know things about you, but they know at the end of the day, you're their friend, they're your friend, and those are sometimes... Some people count them on a hand. Some people say I've got like 18 or 20. Some people say I've got just a few. Some people say whatever, right? But when you have 2,200 people dying a day, and granted, we have a large millions of people obviously alive here in the U.S., but all dying of coronavirus, somewhere down the line within the next year, maybe the next year and a half, the chances are you're going to know at least 3 people that are going to die because of coronavirus. Some of them you may know on Facebook. Some of them you may know on Instagram. Some of them you may know on Twitter. Some of them you may know just from afar. We're going to see celebrities. We're going to see good, normal people that were more healthy than not be sick and die of coronavirus, right? With these numbers, we are currently at, and I want to remind everybody where we were around 2020. When it was first announced, okay, it was seen as kind of, oh, don't panic. If you would have told everybody in the next year and a half, we're going to lose almost 1 million people from this disease, what would you do about it, Jesse?
Say that again? I'm trying to process it in my mind.
Okay, in 2020, let's say March, okay, when it first came out, if they said, look, if we don't do anything now, we're going to lose 1 million people due to this virus in the next year and a half.
I gotcha. Would we do something different?
Yeah. Would we have done something different and been ahead of it?
I want to think so, but I don't know. Some people just look at numbers and not the person. So, I mean, like, if I don't have anyone that's passed away from COVID or know anybody that's passed away from COVID because I don't have any friends or family or blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about it, so it's just me.
Okay, all right, and I get that. I understand that. Because sometimes that's a very normal thing that people do say without saying, right? A lot of people go, well, unless it affects me, it really doesn't affect me, right? But having said that, if I said, okay, the economy is going to be worse than it is now because there's going to be, well, a host of things happening, would you take it seriously at least and then implement certain safety protocols at least so that the economy doesn't suffer? Because that's going to affect everybody. That affects us now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we had a lot better hindsight, I would hope that we would do everything a little bit different, but I don't know. I'm not in charge. I don't make the rules.
Yeah. Okay. And again, that's also a very normal statement because everybody's kind of just reacting rather than saying, hey, administration, we need the right thing to protect the people in the meantime. Well, here's where we're at now. Okay. We're not at 1 million just yet. And it took a little longer than a year and a half. But I would say thanks to certain protocols and certain people doing certain things in the meantime, and not throwing their hands up in the air. But remember, variants exist. We're now at 928,000 Americans dead of coronavirus. Okay? And that could be the alpha. That could be the beta. That could be the delta. That could be the lambda. That could be the mu. That could be the latest 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. We don't just have coronavirus, what I would say A. We now have coronavirus B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. All right, that's what we have going on right now. So you have all these variants, all of these things going on, and that's just us here in the U.S., not to mention around the world. Now, I have friends around the world, Jesse. You have friends around the world because they watch the show. And we call them by name. So I'm going to do some shout-outs now. We got Raul Ignacio, who's watching and tuning in. We appreciate you. Mark Blevins said, Trump thought COVID would be gone by April 2020. Yes, thank you for saying that. That's back to awareness of where we were. Okay, Trump literally said certain things, but what he did not understand, I saw it because I saw a news report. It came and went in March, and it showed an estimation, just like they do in movies. They always say, what's the worst-case scenario? The worst-case scenario, because of the transmission of this virus, was honestly 1 million people dead by 2022. Well, look where we're there. Yeah, so there you go. All right, people, we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
For all you truck and RV enthusiasts, TruckWorks right here in Banning is your one-stop shop for the best diesel performance and overall truck and RV needs. Whether you're towing, racing, off-road, or just cruising around town, TruckWorks specializes in truck and RV service, maintenance, repair, and performance upgrades for every light and medium-duty truck manufacturer. Bring it down to Terry and the guys at TruckWorks. Call 951-922-4776 or visit their website at mydieseldown.com today.
Your health truly is the greatest gift. At U-Theory, quality of life is at the heart of every product we make. From farm to shelf, we travel the world to source the purest, most efficacious, and clinically studied ingredients to create science-backed supplements that support beauty, emotional, digestive, and physical well-being. All U-Theory products are manufactured at our Southern California facility, ensuring the highest quality standards every step of the way. As a family-owned company, we celebrate the power of human potential with a mission to inspire wellness in all. Try U-Theory Immune Plus Daily Wellness. 100% daily values of vitamin C, D3, and zinc. Go beyond the you of today and catch the you of tomorrow. U-Theory.
The staff and families at Custom Care Solutions caregivers take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. We're looking at our comments and social media. Stephanie Reed from Ohio says, I'm highly allergic to bees. I got stung by a bee last summer, and my whole area was red. I always have to keep Benadryl on hand for bee, mosquitoes, and fire ants. And I will say, yeah, you got to be careful of that because, boy, oh boy, can they be deadly if you are already allergic, and they just don't know, right? Rosalie says, I consider a friend someone that will show up with a shovel and ask no questions. Yeah, I'm that kind of friend. You know what? I get that. And, yeah, there you go. Mark says, regarding variants, that's why we don't have a vaccine for common cold. Hundreds of variants. Actually, that's true. You know, he's got a good mind there. He says flu vaccine only covers the most prevalent variants of flu for each year. Very good. Again, very good information because that's where coronavirus is going. We're going to have to need one, probably one every, I would say 6 months, but we're probably going to get one once a year. They already asked the Pfizer CEO about that. They said, what does this look like for the rest of the few years coming? And he says most likely at least one a year, just like the flu shot. And that makes sense. In fact, I had somebody who on social media, I think they're having an event, and they're like, if you have not gotten a coronavirus shot in the last 6 months, I think they said 5 or 6 months, I can't remember, or maybe they said 3 months or 4 months or 5 months, I can't remember. They had this little graph. I don't know where they got the graph because it was actually wrong, but it was better than nothing at all, which is like if you've had it beyond 6 months, then technically you don't have it, the coronavirus shot. Immunity, because it's out of your system by 4 or 5 or 6 months. So if you keep that in your mind, then you go, okay, I need to get another one sooner than later, ahead of whatever else is coming. But again, the Pfizer one that's coming out next, that one I would say look for. Okay, do look for that one. And just so you know, I'm not a big proponent of Pfizer as of last year because, and I know some of you have gotten it, but I wasn't a big proponent of that one. I was, as of last year, Johnson & Johnson. But I know Pfizer's ahead of this one because they cover at least OM1. Okay, the other new variants of OM, they do not cover because it's just too new. So the second, third, and fourth one, whatever number they designate it, I just go 2, 3, 4. It's easy for me to remember. Those ones are here. 2 and 3 are definitely here. 4 is not here yet. But again, I had to do research, had to talk to some smart people, and then I said, okay. So that's why this time I'm saying, okay, even my mom, I'm very, very careful with my mom. I had her hold off on Pfizer and Moderna as of last year, and I made sure she got the Johnson & Johnson. And again, she has had no complications of it, and thank goodness she has not had coronavirus as of yet. But we keep her very safe and sound, and because she's already at high risk with diabetes, if you have high risk already, you really, really need to kind of go, okay, let's do the math, and let's just keep ourselves safer than not, right? And then if you want to travel anywhere, you have to get a vaccine anyway. So, again, I try to maintain, kind of an even distribution of what people believe, whether not get one or get one. And sometimes I say, yeah, but if you have already pre-existing conditions, you really, really need to get ahead of it because this one just accentuates already problems in your body. And it's not just the lungs, by the way. And even if you might get help in the hospital and not die, you're still going to have long-term effects. That's what they're calling now long-haul COVID. That's a new term. They have all these terms, but it basically means it's still with you, but you're not going to die, but it creates problems for the tissue lining of your lungs. That was recently announced in a news article, and I said, okay, that makes sense. That's what you just don't want to get. That's why, what Jesse, you were talking about certain parties where they say, hey, let's get it, and this and that. You don't know what's going to result from it long term. This one is the one that when they have more research done, people are going to say even getting it is a bad thing. Those that can try not to get it at all are the best ones with it. And if you do get it, you don't want to get it to where you got to be in the hospital, because even if you do survive, you're going to hate it in the end anyway. I know, because I talked to somebody who was still like wheezing, and she's been a year from it, and she survived, but she was in the hospital, I think, 4 to 5 weeks. So again, along with the hospital bill, if you have good insurance, along with everything else that keeps you alive, still you got financial mess, you got distress, and you got things that are suffering from it. And recently she had to bury her daughter, sadly, who got coronavirus. So this is a really real thing. Just because you get it once doesn't mean you're not going to get it again. You know, some people think, well, I got it, so it's the variants that hurt you, because they're all different. So thank you, Mark, for bringing that to our attention, because it's very true. Every single thing that you get is different along the way. And Bobby, thank you for the 50 stars you just gave us. We appreciate you. We're glad you appreciate good news and good information. Mark says this, and I was talking about this yesterday very briefly with Jesse. He says, why are Coachella Festival and other festivals dropping masking and other COVID precautions? Crazy. I love his emoji because it's the crazy emoji. I think it's the dumbest thing since sliced bread. Okay, and I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to, because I know how Jesse feels about this, so I'm going to just say it myself. I don't want to pull him under the bus. But I'm going to say this. It's the stupidest thing. We're not through coronavirus, okay? Back to masking. And I've already seen people not masked as of the last 3 days, because I, go out and about, and I go, okay. Okay, here's where I would say I would be okay with no mask. Outside, running. That's where even I say to my mom, if you're outside with no one around, and it's just you and the dog, it's all right to remove your face mask, especially in the heat of the sun. Okay? That's the only time I say, and I did drive through some neighborhoods which had a school, and I saw kids on the outside, and then I saw like a group of teenagers, maybe 16, 17, 18, running for track with face masks on. I go, okay, that's kind of dumb. I don't recommend that at all. Yeah, I know. I don't recommend that, right? Because you're outside and you're running. I don't think a face mask, you need as much oxygen to your lungs as possible if you're running on the outside. Now, if you were in a gym where there's a potential like 3 people that have coronavirus and they're coughing and they're wheezing and they're coughing and they're wheezing and they're coughing and they're wheezing, then I would say no. Now, steel surfaces, and this is science that goes back to, honestly, 2020, steel surfaces have more for coronavirus to live on, and anything, cold and or flu, it lasts longer on those surfaces until you wipe them down with any type of antibacterial, anything really. Most people usually take Lysol, but anything antibacterial or UV light, which they do to the, I don't know if they still do it, but they were really big on it with the trains and our transit systems. They do them every single night, right? Those things help kill off certain things, right? But back to the normalcy of this. Removing all face masks from everyone, I think, is the dumbest thing, because you still don't know who has coronavirus. If deaths are up right now, back to the news that we're saying, why would you say no more face masks anymore? Who are you making happy at the end of the day? And I say, great, okay, fine. While you guys all want to get each other sick, I'm still going to wear a face mask, okay? Thankfully, it's just me and my mom, and it's not a whole, family of 8 who, go and party without face masks all day and then bring it home. Guaranteed that's going to happen. But there you go. All right. I'm just trying to share some strong information, which I think Mark is picking up on, especially Coachella Festival. I guarantee they're going to probably revert that, because Coachella comes in, what is that, summer, right, Jesse?
I believe so. I'm actually not looking forward to it because the freeways are packed and it's just a pain to get home.
Okay, I'll give you that. And then Bobby says, distance yourself from others. Yeah, and that's, I think, what I would do. And then I would watch the people that are so privy to that. Like, if I were to go on a date with someone, I would want to go on a date with somebody who actually goes, I like to wear a face mask. I go, you know what? You're cool. I get you. For those that go like, no, I don't wear a face mask anywhere I go, I'd say, you know what? We can date maybe in 6 months once I can depend on you never getting coronavirus. Because that is going to be a problem in the next 3 to 4 months. Guaranteed. With OM1, OM2, OM3, and OM4 out, we're not ready for it, people. We're not ready for it. And I know some are like, it's still a conspiracy. I go, well, it's a conspiracy until you finally bury somebody that has coronavirus. Then you hear the stories of how they died. When I tell you for real, I had to, go to the funeral with the family members, which, again, she's 28. She was 28. And she died from coronavirus. In her room, spitting up blood. They found her with a pool of blood, spitting up blood. She had coronavirus. All right? That's not fake. I have nothing to gain by saying that. You didn't have to go to the funeral. I had to go to the funeral. Yeah, I had to see the sad faces. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be careful, people. Just be careful, okay? That's all I got to say about that. And if you have somebody that has died in your life or somebody of somebody, then take it seriously, okay? Don't let it affect you and or your family. Be safe and say, hey, for the meantime, why don't we just, we don't have to go with the rest of the world. Well, that's right, because the rest of the world's still wearing face masks. Yeah, about that. So, hello, U.S. Americans. We have 928,000 dead. So, why would you go backwards? We have the proof. Remember when Trump said, 120,000, no more than that? Yeah, kind of bypass that. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
KMET AM 1490 presents Cal State San Bernardino basketball. This Thursday night, February 17th at 7:30, the Coyotes meet Sonoma State in a CCAA conference game. Live from Casulas Arena in San Bernardino. I'm Mitch McClellan. Join me as the Coyotes meet the Seawolves. Coyote basketball broadcasts are brought to you by Dignity Health, Hatfield Buick GMC, Raising Cane's, Penny Law, and the Hyatt Place Hotel, Ontario Mills. That's Cal State San Bernardino basketball action live from San Bernardino this Thursday night at 7:30 on your exclusive radio home for Coyote basketball, KMET AM 1490.
What is commitment and why is it so hard to achieve? The new book, Committed, by Dr. Carmen Hara and Alexandra Hara, will make you reevaluate the way you think about love. Committed is a relationship manual that unfolds in 2 parts. The work you need to perform on the inside and the 7 distinct archetypes you will encounter on the outside. Committed, a new book available on Amazon by Dr. Carmen Hara and Alexandra Hara, will help to find and keep the love you deserve. Committed, available now on Amazon.
Standard time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit to get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today.
Ruth didn't know she was leaving for good. She knew he would kill her. Could she save herself? Did she feel she was worth saving? How could she best protect her children? To love, honor, and betray, Ruth Tunnicliffe shares her true tale. From submissive to survivor, then thriver. Now living a proud, purposeful life. As an optimistic, inspiring, peaceful warrior. Can a person heal from feeling the guilt of a decision altering many lives? weighted by living grief, moving through lessons learned, self-discovery, and land in self-love? Can someone who's been abused in every way move to self-trust, confidence, and arrive at living in peace? To love, honor, and betray. A sincere, honest letter. To herself and her adult children, Ruth Tunnicliffe shares her story so that others may also find the inspiring, peaceful warrior within. Amazon worldwide, Barnes & Noble, RuthTunnicliffe.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I like Bobby's comment. No kissing, no hugs, please, people. Even herd immunity has kind of gone out the way because of all the variants. You might have herd immunity with like alpha. Okay, I will say that. I think herd immunity in some areas, not all areas, are good against alpha because alpha has been around for a while, right? And if you're able to test on the variants, you'd be like, okay, I have alpha. That's why, again, with usually the vaccines, especially if you got at least the first, which I would say like the spring edition of 2021, I would keep it like that so it doesn't get confusing. If you got the spring edition of it, more than often than not, you're good against alpha. That's why we see very little alpha ones out there lately. It's usually the latest, newer super strain of these variants that we're seeing. Okay. Because the alpha was more or less the first version of it. Then it got more complicated by becoming stronger on the outside of it, back to the casing of it. And then we had beta, and then we had, I would say A, B, C, D. But, now we're at E, F, and G. Back to OM. We've got OM 1, 2, 3. And I just saw a report right now, which is very alarming. And it says pretty much what we've been saying here on the show about being ahead of it. And this is what is the headline. Hold on, let me bring it up here. Oh, sorry, okay, here we go. New OM variant 2 spreading rapidly. Accounts for roughly 1 out of every 5 new COVID cases sequenced globally. Okay, and this is the more significant test. Not that like one done at home with like the little pregnancy positive thing. That one doesn't tell you which variant you have. It doesn't pop up with that's the variant you have, right? It just says you have coronavirus. They kind of lump it up, kind of like you said, like with colds. You have a cold, which is the rhinovirus, right? You have a cold and or the flu. They don't tell you which number you have. They just say, oh, you have a cold, right? The World Health Organization has released a new report on OM2, which shows it accounted for 21.5% of all new OM cases analyzed in the first week of February. Okay, that's very recent. These are the type of stories I like that kind of are like, okay, give me math of now. OM representing nearly all the variants identified globally, 98.3%. So basically, it's the OM one that we're fighting right now. Does that make sense? So the Delta is still here, by the way. So don't, say, oh, we're not, we're not with that one. But here's the thing that nobody understands. None of the vaccines out right now help us against OM. That's why they're so widespread. That's why the Pfizer one coming out next at least helps us with OM1, right? And then you hope that your immunity might be able to help fight the rest. So that's why I say get the Pfizer one as soon as you can when it comes out, if you can, okay? But back to this. OM representing nearly all the variants identified globally, 98.3% in the genomically sequenced samples submitted to the GISAID data sharing hub in the previous 30 days. So what they're saying in this translation, 2 is spreading, again, OM2 is spreading rapidly, though it is unclear to what effect. Now I will say they refer to it as BA.2, but I just kind of really quick in my math, I go OM2. Okay, it's sometimes called this stealth OM, all right? Which accounted for the majority of new cases in 10 countries as of Monday. All right, this is as of Monday. Denmark, India, China, Bangladesh, Brunei Darussalam, Guam, Montenegro, Nepal, Pakistan, and the Philippines. The report notes there are massive differences in its spread across the globe, with the Southeast Asia region reporting the highest prevalence among sequences, and the region of the Americas reported so far the lowest prevalence. So like I say, it's still here. And a lot of people do travel, right? So that's how it gets out even quicker and faster. If nobody traveled, and we went by the ways of like 1918, which by the way, they theorized it was the soldiers that came back from traveling that ended up spreading it from World War I. That's how the Spanish flu got so big all of a sudden. But as of right now, everybody travels, right? So that's the question of the day. The good news for the U.S., most of which is removing restrictions after the winter wave, the prevalence of 2 has tripled from 1.2% during the week ending 29 January 2022. So there you go. Anyway, we got to take another break. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
New teen driver in the family? Just bought your first home? Have a new bundle of joy? Every life change matters, and by reviewing your insurance policy with Little & Sons Insurance Services, you could be benefiting with big savings. Little & Sons Insurance Services, a family-owned insurance agency who values the old-fashioned way of doing business. They work for you, not an insurance company, meaning your best interests are at heart. They can custom tailor your policy based on specific needs at a price you can afford. Home, auto, or business, you're covered. Call 1-844-9-LITTLE. That's 1-844-9-LITTLE, or go online to little, the letter N, sons.com. That's littlensons.com.
World-renowned psychologist, relationship expert, and best-selling author Dr. Carmen Hara hosts Live Now every Friday morning at 9 o'clock on Smart Talk Radio. Dr. Hara offers profound wisdom, practical advice, daily exercises, and empowering predictions, all for you. Experience your own positive transformation as Dr. Hara personally guides you to the answers that you have been seeking. Live Now with Dr. Carmen Hara every Friday morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Time on KMET Radio, podcast by SoundCloud.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the #1 choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Football season is back, and so is Steer the Line with Lou Desmond and me, Jeremy James. Join Lou and I, along with special guests, every Friday at 5 p.m. as we cover the latest in NFL news, fantasy football, and, of course, our weekly Steer the Line game picks. We'll also do check-ins on our local LA teams and, of course, a deeper dive into Raider Nation. Fridays at 5 p.m. on 1490 KMET. Follow Steer the Line on Facebook and visit steertheline.com.
The Fat Greek in Yucaipa, where you can get authentic, delicious, true Greek food. Authentic gyros, Greek salads, pitas, falafel, hamburgers, burritos, and oh yes, baklava. The Fat Greek has a large selection of wines, ice-cold domestic, and imported Greek beers. Come on down to the Fat Greek located on Yucaipa Boulevard in the city of Yucaipa. Open 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. The Fat Greek has delivery, drive-through, sit-down, and a catering service. So bring in a family or give Nicholas and Christopher a call at 909-797-6018. Eat Greek, live long. Remember, if you want authentic Greek food, it's the Fat Greek in Yucaipa.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET, 1490 AM. I know Jesse Sanchez looking at the news headlines. What's going on there, Jesse?
Yeah, do you remember when you said it was kind of unsafe to be in LA?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Apparently a woman was stabbed outside of a Foot Locker store in Fairfax yesterday.
Oh, God.
And do you know what they were standing in line for? Oh, wait, no, they're standing in line for Foot Locker, duh. No, apparently some Nike shoes were being dropped, but apparently, yeah, somebody got stabbed over that. It's just, yeah, it's just like, I see more and more things happening in LA every day, carjacking stuff, but it's just, what are you going to do?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like
and in broad daylight.
Exactly. And the kids walking around, it's like, oh my God.
Yep. Yeah, I had a guy walk around me. I think I was in Chinatown because I was going to get Chinese food. And I was waiting for my Chinese food, right? And this guy walked around me, and you know, he was a little, obviously, mentally disturbed. But I kind of watch my back because I'm like, in this day and age, and we've seen this in the last, I want to say 3 to 4 months, where people will hit somebody out of nowhere. They don't even know them. I showed my mom one video where this guy pushed a lady, this was on the East Coast, onto the train track out of nowhere. Yeah, I kid you not. I kid you not. And I think they caught the guy, too, mentally unwell, again. And she went flying into the train track because she didn't expect it. It's like when you know what I mean? I'm like, what kind of mentality is out there to just attack people out of nowhere that you don't even know? So I say now, watch your back, watch who's around you. Everybody knows I got mugged at McDonald's in broad daylight twice, okay? And I was left for dead. I was all bloodied and bludgeoned and all that. I healed up really well. But at the end of it all, this is happening left, right, and center. And this is happening in areas that people would not expect it. Now, in LA, it's really picked up. So for other areas, if you're in other areas, I say San Bernardino, certain areas I would still stay away from. You kind of know those cities that to stay away from, right, Jesse? You're like, you know, I will say this. I used to broadcast out of Carousel Mall. Anywhere in that area, not good. There's so much drugs in that area and so many crazies in that area. I mean, they literally stole a battery from our truck of the station that I used to work at. I mean, who does that, right? So that's called desperation. But my point is this. Yeah, the thing that you're talking about, and this is another thing. I'm looking at several things here in the Fairfax district. It's a mentality there that I've been in this area to try to track down a killer. Remember that girl that was stabbed at the store? It was a furniture store, and they offered $250,000 for the arrest and capture of the guy.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I got some people as suspects, and one of them almost came at me, and I was like, "What the heck, man?" And so I say this: yeah, be careful if you're in the LA area. I'm looking at several different news headlines here. You remember there was the video of the LAPD. Oh, let's see. It looks like they arrested juvenile suspected of attacking, robbing teen sisters. That was the one that you saw them outside, I think, of a bank. They're searching for suspects who attacked. That was 2 weeks ago. Oh, but they did arrest a juvenile suspected of attacking. So that's good. So they got on that one. They've 6 days ago issued a warning about a string of students robberies in South LA. Okay, that's an area that I frequented. That's where I got mugged. The LA teenagers targeted a string of robberies in the Fairfax district. Okay, I get it. So that's a thing. And then this one stabbed outside the Foot Locker. Foot Locker, Jesse. Foot Locker. Come on, people. What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. It's just like you can't be like, I'm cautious of everyone. I do not like people walking behind me.
Yeah.
Like really close. I do not like people approaching me with their hands in their hoodies and stuff like that. I get nervous.
Yeah.
I do not like that. And people will be like, "Oh, you're just a no." I'm
that's
not
a red
crazy.
flag for me.
I've been robbed 3 times at gunpoint. No, each one had their hands in their pockets like that. I'm not stupid.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. And you saw that one that happened up north where they took those at the jewelry store, they took those sledgehammers and they banged it. They were all wearing, right, certain garb. So I will say this, especially with face masks, they know they're not going to be identified, right? You put on that hoodie. You put on and I'm all for hoodies. Not gonna lie, they look very like what's the word? And I've worn them, right?
I wear hoodies all the time.
They're very warm. Yeah, I have a jacket with a hoodie.
Yeah, although when you wear a hoodie, let's be honest, you do get like I remember I walked into a Walgreens once. I had a hoodie on because my hair was messed up. I didn't want anyone to see it.
Yeah.
So I walked in. It was like 10:30 at night, and I was getting ready for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So I'm with the other dudes that are in there. Like there's like 20 of us. God, we're so lame. We're looking for cards, and the officer there went straight towards me.
Yeah.
Put his hand on my shoulder. So like, "Sir, you need to take off your hoodie." Blah 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 blah. I'm just like, I'm just looking for a card. And then he had like his hand on his gun, and I was just so like, whatever.
I'm not going to lie. I think that's a little much because I've seen people wear the hoodie and nobody tells them anything in LA. I've never seen that. So I'm surprised you were told that because I'm not going to lie. I would never tell that. I would watch you from afar, right, on the loss prevention. But I think that was a little much to tell you that. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
Yeah, I felt scared. I'm like, this dude came up to me. He had his hand on my shoulder, and that was just like, oh my God, I did not know what to do. I was like, I live down the street. I just want a Mother's Day card, maybe a balloon or two.
Well, technically, they're not supposed to even lay their hands on you. That's invasion of privacy.
Yeah, pretty much this security guard. I don't think he worked there. He didn't work there for too long. I think he stopped after a month. But
I can see that.
He had an attitude. He's just like, he questioned everyone that walked in there. I'm like, dude, everyone around here is brown. What are you gonna do?
Right. I maybe he was in the middle of an attack and he got a little some people get that way. But I will say this. I do watch people carefully that way. I'm not against the hoodies, but I am against all face masks, all hoodies, and the suspicious type of behavior. You know what I mean? There are certain things like that. We've run out of time, unfortunately. Man, we have so much more to talk about. Thank you to all of you who've been tuning in. Thank you for keeping us going. We appreciate you more than you know. We'll see you tomorrow right here on The Morning Show.